Young world, what's good? I am Abel Green and I'm back, guys. Today we are here to talk about Arc Raiders. Now, I know you've seen the title of the video. Arc Raiders is in trouble, and you're probably like, Abel, what is going on? What could possibly be happening in Arc Raiders? Now, this is going to be a interesting issue. Now, this is one that I have not thought of myself, but could be a huge potential problem for Arc Raiders in the future. Now, we all know the finals. The finals has a crossplay feature. Now, crossplay has been a big debate within the finals community, right? Embark Studios has done various controller tweaks just to tune the game just right so they could play fairly against mouse and keyboard. You don't want to do too much aim assist, and then you don't want to do not enough of it because it would just make it unfair playing against mouse and keyboard players. So they've been tweaking the controller settings for so long just to dial it in right, and even to the extent that they did some phantom tweaks in the background that they didn't tell gamers about, right? This is going to be a huge issue for Arc Raiders because some gamers, now I don't know what camp you guys are in, you're gonna have to let me know down in the comment section below and be very honest. Crossplay, do you play with it on or off? But just let me know. But I don't know what camp you are in, but if you play crossplay, you're going to be going up against mouse and keyboard players if you are on console, and then mouse and keyboard players, you're going to go up against console players if you are on PC. Now, me, myself personally, I prefer to have the mix because if I go solely PC, there might be a likelihood of cheaters, right? I don't have nothing against console players playing against me in Arc Raiders, right? I want to have my experience fulfilled with integrity, right? Now, when you stay on the PC side of things, sometimes you bump into the trouble of having cheaters within your matches. And then on top of that, killing the vibes for your experience. Then in turn, you end up questioning the whole integrity of the game, right? You don't want to do that with Arc Raiders. Personally, I don't want to do that with Arc Raiders because I think the game's fucking phenomenal and I want it to be lit in the worst way. Now, that is the elephant in the room. They need to get this tweaked. They need to get this down. Shout out to Identity. He made a fantastic video discussing this issue here, and he went into great detail, and I'm going to be providing my feedback and my dialogue reacting to his video, and I need you guys to participate as well and tell me what you think about what he's saying. Are these huge issues for Arc Raiders? Is this something that we might have a problem with down the road? Now, keep in mind, guys, keep in mind here, zoom in on me, I'm black. Keep in mind, Arc Raiders is coming at a premium, so this should wean most of the cheaters out of the game, okay, if we're being very, very real. However, we do have a chance of having a cheater problem, and this could potentially be on console as well. We just don't know. So if you prefer to just play with the game with crossplay off, fucking do so. But mind you, you do run into the chance of bumping into cheaters there just in that world of PC gaming. So you might want to mix it up and play with some console players to hold the integrity of the game to a certain standard if you care to do so. Now, there's no promises to say that people on console aren't cheating, but I rather take a chance going that way. So I would turn on crossplay myself personally. But let's get to the reaction of this video and see what Identity is talking about. Also, if you guys care to check out Identity, all his links would be down in the description below. And also, if you enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big like. And if you care to stay up to date with anything Arc Raiders related, consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get it.
You know, it's hard to imagine that there are any problems when there's so much good said about a game by so many players all around the world. But when it comes to Arc Raiders, there's actually a potential problem that needs to be addressed, going all the way back to the finals, actually. But let's get into this right now, because
let's talk it.
I think you guys are going to have a field day in the comment section about this. So here's the deal. Arc Raiders, of course, we know is shaping up to be something special, to say the least. But before we get comfortable, there's one issue that no one is really talking about right now, and it's kind of surprising considering what we've seen play out in the finals. So we know that Arc Raiders is full crossplay between Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And on paper, it sounds great. More players, shorter queues, you know the deal. But if you played in the tech test, especially on console, you may have already felt something was off.
Now, he's talking about something in the console realm where gamers were having a off experience playing on whatever respective platform they play on. I personally didn't hear anything of this, so pay attention to this, guys. I don't know what my man Identity's talking about here, but if you relate and know what he's talking about, like sound off down in the comment section, because this is going to get interesting, guys. Just take a listen.
And you're not crazy. Multiple players reported getting absolutely bodied by PC players. And when you break down why, it's perfectly simple. Mouse and keyboard just have a raw mechanical advantage, but that point right there is kind of subjective. And I'll get into that later on in the video, because I've personally used both console and mouse and keyboard previously. About 6 years ago, when I built my first computer, I went through a struggle. It was hard for me to give up the sticks, being a traditionalist and all, you know.
Oh, I understand that.
With a controller.
Yep, so, I understand that.
I'm betraying this whole concept. As I got better and better at mouse and keyboard, I'm like, man, it just does not make sense to use a controller anymore. Now when I try and use a controller on a shooter, my aim is potato. I don't even know how you guys do it.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's just muscle memory. You get used to it and you become good.
Yeah, guys, if you go from console gaming to PC gaming and then you try to use a controller again, guys, it could get very ugly. I'll tell you that straight away. It could get downright ugly, okay? Because over time, you lose the dexterity of how you used to play on a controller when you play on mouse and keyboard for a duration of time. And your muscle memory and everything tends to just go out the window over time, and it just puts you down to like a 0 rating as a player on a controller, right? In comparison to mouse and keyboard. Now, when you're on mouse and keyboard and now that's your native playing home, you tend to do better. And he's definitely right about that. He's right about that all the way.
So that being said, there are advantages and disadvantages to using a controller in mouse and keyboard. Some say that mouse and keyboard have the advantage, others say controller.
True. Well, facts.
A lot of factors are involved with that. People say that mouse and keyboard is faster, more precise. And in games like this, that's the difference between winning a firefight, actually. But I looked up on Reddit to see what people are saying about this, and it actually was an issue in a tech test. Because, you know, one Reddit posed the question, is it intentional to have us console plebs matching with PC players? There's no option to disable cross-platform, and the net result is generally controller players becoming overstuffed loot pinatas for the PC players. And before anyone disclaims that it's Xbox PlayStation matching only, I've grouped with players in Raid and had them tell me what keys to press for social actions. The game is good. I've enjoyed my time and reported my share of bugs. The sounds are hefty, the 3D localization on console, yada 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 yada. Okay, but I'm done being a loot consumable for players that can literally run rings around my character and maintain focus fire. So, okay, that is not entirely true, because you can disable the crossplay if you like. It's just not
that's facts.
Explained very well. So this is like the user experience that they need to update and make better.
Now, like my man just said, just like Identity said just now, you can turn off crossplay. You can turn it off if you really feel like you're not having a pure experience and you feel like you're being outgunned or just outclassed in any way. So I don't really get the angle that that gentleman on Reddit is coming from. That just fucking doesn't make sense to me. But moving on.
For their game, which is why it's a better idea to wait and polish things like this. So another user responded saying that you can actually disable crossplay if you'd prefer not to match with
correct
players.
Correct.
It says just head to the settings and toggle crossplay off under settings, gameplay, and crossplay. This should give you a more comfortable experience with just console players. But they do go on to say, to add to this, I noticed that if you are queuing for solos with crossplay off at an off-peak time, it'll throw you into a lobby with trios if it can't fill a solo lobby after several minutes. To me, that's probably even worse than playing against mouse and keyboard users. So my advice is to maybe switch crossplay back on if you're up really late playing and notice the queue time starting to get longer. Okay. So this is kind of like a double-edged sword, because we've already seen what happens when a studio like Embark launches a crossplay FPS without properly.
Yo, the finals had a huge issue. Mouse and keyboard versus controller. I mean, the aim assist debate was going on heavy over there. It was heavy.
Balancing inputs. So we have to go back a little bit, okay? Because the finals has been out for almost 3 years. Same developer launched with full crossplay and pretty aggressive aim assist for controller players. And see, that's what I mean. It's not what you think. Some players are saying that crossplay mouse and keyboard has an advantage. Others are saying that controller has an advantage, and that's specifically for this reason. Now, when I played other games like The Division, there are skills which require you to aim, and there's aim assist on those skills. So like, let's say if you're in the vicinity of an enemy's head or their body, the aim assist would snap your crosshairs onto that character, allowing you to guarantee a hit. And PC players were complaining, saying that aim assist felt like a built-in aimbot. And console players responded by saying it wasn't enough past 10 meters. So I guess it didn't work really that well when you get to a certain distance. Then with mouse and keyboard, you could pretty much beam players from a distance.
Exactly, bro. This is where you're going to have the issue. This is why this is important to discuss, because Arc Raiders is going to be super popular. I don't care what anybody says. I think the game is going to do relatively well. I know that it's releasing in between two juggernauts, that is Call of Duty and Battlefield, but I think Arc Raiders is going to find its own better people in a great community that would uplift the title and bowl out on it. And that's going to be myself included. Now, we have to get the crossplay right, because if one side or the other feels like they're at advantage or a disadvantage all the time, it's going to ruin the fucking experience. It really is. But again, if people just choose to be purists, you could always turn off crossplay. But however, personally, for me, I would like to play with crossplay. I don't mind playing with console players because, again, the PC side of things, you could deal with cheaters. Honestly, it's both a good and a bad, and it's going to be something that needs to be remedied over time. This isn't going to be a quick fix.
And both sides felt like the other had an unfair advantage. Embark even silently nerfed aim assist right after launch of the finals.
Remember,
didn't say anything until players noticed the change, and it was a big change. So it's not really just a gameplay problem. It's kind of like Embark was doing something a little shady. They didn't really tell anybody about this nerf. It was a silent nerf, and it actually made a lot of people kind of fall back from the game, a lot of console players. And for those wondering, let me just get into more detail about what aim assist is. It's a system that helps controller players by slightly slowing or snapping your crosshair when you're near a target, especially the head. It's meant to compensate for the lack of precision on a joystick compared to a mouse. But that raises a fair question too. Is aim assist just a tool to keep things balanced, or is it basically cheese? Well, it depends on how it's tuned, and more importantly, how transparent the devs are about it. But it gets even deeper than this. Okay, this is why it's like a sketchy issue with this whole cross-platform when it comes to console and PC, because there's an entirely different group that just basically takes this to another level. Things like Cronus and ZIM or ZIM adapters lets players use a mouse and keyboard while tricking the game into thinking they're using a controller. So just when you thought that the controller had the advantage with the aimbot, you got this insane mod. And I think that this trumps it all, honestly. Okay, listen to this. You get mouse precision, you keep controller aim assist, and you completely bypass any matchmaking that might separate inputs. It's like having the best of both worlds and none of the consequences.
Now, he's not lying. If you are a ZIM user or somehow circumvent the system and become able to play mouse and keyboard on a console, you're a dangerous motherfucker. I'm going to say it again. You're a dangerous motherfucker, because now you get both the advantage, just like my man said, of having aim assist and then having the accuracy of a mouse and keyboard. Bro, you're going to be a problem on the battlefield, and you're using controller settings. You know what I mean? You're being read and labeled as a controller player, a console player. And that's not the fucking truth. You know, so these are things that really need to be adhered to, and these are things that really need to be looked at under a microscope by Embark Studios to make sure the integrity of Arc Raiders stays intact. Because if not, this is going to be a huge, huge problem.
Now, personally, I've never even heard of this until now. And apparently it's already caused chaos in games like Warzone, Apex,
Rainbow Six, Rainbow Six,
and most likely the finals too.
Rainbow Six.
And if
I'm telling you,
doesn't prepare for this, then it's just going to be another arms race.
I've seen it.
About skill.
He's right.
About
he's
who has
right.
the better mod kit. You know, me personally, I've never been a fan of cheating. It's just not appealing to me. Like, so many people have accused me of cheating with my sniper montages from the Division. I mean, insane headshots, like crazy headshots, bro. And people have accused me like, oh, he's using this mod. Somebody even explained it to a T what I was using. I'm like, oh, okay. Whatever you think is fine with you. But I take pride in my skill level and I love challenging myself. So when I'm going against
I respect
a cheater,
that.
it's like even more satisfying to destroy him. Like Gears of War, they used to have these modded hammer bursts. I know some of you remember that. Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3. They had these mods where the hammer burst was a semi-automatic rifle. And they even had this clan called iMod. So whatever your name was, whatever your gamer tag was in iMod, they basically admitted that's what they did. They were a full clan of modders. And you couldn't get into that clan unless you had like one of those controllers, a specific controller from a certain website. It was crazy, yo. But what does this mean for our creators? Because apparently the issue still persists. Because the game has real potential, y'all. And I don't really think this will destroy it. I just think it'll cause a divide and an issue that is really hard to have a solution for. So I think what
I agree.
Need to do.
He's not lying about that at all, guys. It's going to be a hard issue to resolve. It's going to take testing. It's going to take time. It's going to take tweaks upon tweaks upon tweaks. It just is what it is.
First of all, there's nothing they can do about this freaking mouse and keyboard mod, whatever it is, that allows you to trick the system into thinking that you have a controller so that you can retain the aim assist that a controller has while still having the precision of mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue.
That's going to be an issue. Anything could trump that. But I mean, the controllers have an advantage too. So like, this is an ongoing situation that I don't know how can be fixed, because like anti-cheat software that games come with that can track obvious cheaters, but this kind of like supersedes that, and that cannot be detected. So at the end of the day, I guess people are going to just either turn off crossplay, and when you do that, you'll have longer wait times. I think that is the only solution, I say, for this.
Now, he's right about that. You turn off crossplay, you face the potential problem of having long queue times, and nobody wants that shit. Nobody's going to enjoy that. Like, I totally get that, but that might be the only way if you just want to play PC on PC. Like, you turn on crossplay, you're opening up Pandora's box for things, right? But it depends on what you want to do. Me personally, I'll take on crossplay. Other folks at home may not want to. They might deal with the long queue times. And I fucking hate that shit. I hate when I'm sitting in queue forever to try to find a match. But these are the things we have to juggle with Arc Raiders as the game rolls out, because this inevitably is going to come to a head to some degree. There's going to be a talk about this. Just mark my words here. There's going to be a heavy discussion about this down the road.
But anyways, what do you play? Do you play with mouse and keyboard? Are you a modder? Are you a cheater? Do you play with controller? And how do you think this is going to affect Arc Raiders?
So that is the gist of what my man Identity is breaking down. Crossplay truly being an issue for Arc Raiders, something that could really put this game in trouble. Now, not kill it by no degree. Arc Raiders will not be killed by this at all, but trouble, yeah. You could see some shit stirred up. I didn't even know Reddit was jumping off like that with the issues. I had no clue that the console players were feeling that way about the Arc Raiders experience. I had no fucking clue. Shout out to all the content creators that are covering both sides of the spectrum, being console and PC. We need more like you. But let me know what you guys think. Arc Raiders, could it potentially be in trouble? Also, if you did not check out my last video for Arc Raiders, it was a banger and you are not going to want to miss this one. Be sure to click here and I'll be sure to see you there.